Moya Koloko.
Goeiedag, dis Werner van der Linde.
Hallo julle, my naam is Kobus Maree.
Hi, this is Eugene van der Westhuizen.
Hi julle, welkom hier so by, ek wil nou sê, eerste episode. Want kyk, hierdie ding het elke keer uit te veel episodes, nee, maar allemaal bly by 1. Ek dink ons kan hierdie een URC episode 1 noem. Die ander was nou, die vorige een was die build-up. Eerste naweek van URC was daar. Hoe was die laaste week vir julle? Nie rugby gewys nie.
Not Niels, ja, soos 'n bedrywige weekie gewees, tot op bede toe. Weer bietjie warm. Deur die dag en dan in die aande koel het bietjie af. Maar andersins is daar nie veel klagtes nie. Dit help nie om te kla nie in 'n geval. Maar ja, my tydjie vir my atletiek kom nader. So ja, ek sien uit daarna.
Hey, evening all. Hope you're well. Yeah, no, the last the last few days have been hectic. I've just been recovering from a bit of a cold and still not fully shaken it, but slowly but surely getting there. And just hoping for a better week this week, but already there've been a few curveballs here and there, but still we move forward.
Kobus lyk my hy is 'n bietjie laat, hy sal nou join. Maar so lank om Eugene, vertel ons bietjie van daai kompetisie van jou. And then also Moya, you can tell us about your studies. I know you do studies. I'm not sure if it is varsity or college, but tell us more about your studies while we wait for Kobus.
So I'm doing my PhD in media studies, but I always say my running joke is that I'm a psychology student posing as a media student, because all my previous training has been in psychological research. So at the moment it's on around 77,000 words. Pretty much done, but just need to reach an agreement with my supervisors that they're happy with it, and then from there I can put it through for the final submission. Which, it sounds like it's right there, but like it'll probably take a couple of months more to get through. And then, work-wise, I do a lot of work in the psychology department at the University of Cape Town.
Ek is reg, Niels.
Well, I've been participating in Masters Athletics since 2011. Participated in almost all the South African Masters Athletic Championships since then. Accumulated so far about 54 odd medals, of which about half is gold and the rest is bronze and silver. Events I participate in or used to participate in is long jump, javelin, hammer throw, weight throw, discus and shot put. But due to my knees packing up, I've cut back and I'm only doing 2 events with the 14th Africa Masters Championships in Pretoria, 16th to the 18th of November. Just pardon the dog barking in the background. Okay, that's it, and hoping to do as my best, but with sore hips and sore knees, I battle. But otherwise than that, things are going well. I'm on track to do the best I can.
Like I've said before, I'm an old amateur wrestler, got Springbok and SA colours. Played rugby a few games for the Liverpool's first team way back. Played SA Defence Force first team. Currently keeping myself busy with road running. I've been doing that for the last 40 years. I've done about 1,000 races, 2 comrades, and all the other big races I've done more than once. Coming weekend I'm doing a 10 and a 5. Also like Eugene, my knees are not want to last anymore. I'm just doing shorter distances, 10s, 21s, and that's me.
Kyk hier so ons kan nie URC praat sonder om eers wêreldbeker te praat nie. Ek meen dis die final, né? Dis die final. My en Kobus se droomfinal. Dis ons het hom gekry. Van voor die World Cup daarvoor gewens, ek het hom gekry. As 'n paar goed wat my worry daar. En ek sien vandag hier weer basically dit gaan 'n nat game dalk moontlik wees. So gaan dit 'n forward game wees, obviously jy gaan nie hardloop as die bal nat is. Maar nou dink ek as ek in die vorige een gesê het met die build-up, het ek gesê slegs Skotland game het ons voorspelers die ander span oordonne. Met Tonga, met Ierland, Frankryk, en nou Engeland selfs ook. Was ons voorspelers nie daai, maar dis ook nou ons het nie daai 6-2 split gebruik nie. Dit was die 5-3 konvensionele split. So wat sê julle? In my kop sê ek gaan met daai 6-2 split aangesien dit 'n forward game gaan wees. Maar nou die weer, niemand kan dit ook beplan nie, né? Of voorspel korrek nie. Net die Vader weet wanneer dit sal reën of nie. So wat as dit dan nie 'n nat game is nie? En jy maak reg vir 'n 6-2 split. Jy kom met jou bomb squad en alles. En 'n sonskyn. En die All Blacks begin hardloop op jou. Dis 'n ding wat my worry.
You know, I'm thinking that a question that would come in is, where are our best defenders? So, you know, the plan will definitely be to work things through the forwards, especially with the rain. But in terms of making a positive impact, I'm not sure if the 6-2 split or even the 7-1 split will be in our best interest. So, for example, you know, some of the questions we have to ask: are we going to start Mani Libok and have Pollard come off the bench? Are we going to say, you know what, we just have Pollard, and you know, maybe you have Damien Willemse on the bench, so if anything happens to Pollard, you have Faf and Damien Willemse who can take off kicking duties. I don't know. I would like to keep it where, you know, maybe we do go with the 5-3, because the 5 that came on really were exceptional, but also you're sure that with that 3, if we need that extra spark in the back line, we've got that. But yeah, I'm glad I'm not the person to make the decision, if I'm honest.
Fully agree, Niels. You know that this is our dream final. I'm a Black supporter. A few things that stand out for me. Let's be very, very honest. The Boks played average the last 2 games. From my side, I think they were lucky to win, especially the England game, although they came back. Problem is, who's going to be the fittest team? Against France, you guys won because you were the fittest. You were outplayed for 60, 70 minutes, and your fitness pulled you through the last 10 minutes. I know the All Blacks, and yesterday I was actually watching on Channel 211. They played some of the last 100 tests between the 2 teams. And a few times the Blacks were quite a way behind the Boks, and they came back and won it in the last couple of minutes. And we also played Graz rugby. That 37-7 loss to you guys didn't go well, too well down with us. And also look back at history. It's very, very seldom that the Blacks lose 2 games in a row against a team. Difficult to call this one, Niels. It's going to be 50-50. I haven't even played my Super Brew yet. I don't know what to pick. My heart says All Blacks. I think we're going to pull it through, but it's difficult.
Moyo, I fully agree with you with the 5-3 split. Yeah, to pick the back line is a bit of a tough one. are you going with and Estreisen? Are you going with Jesse Kriel and or Jesse Kriel and Estreisen? Where do you fit in Moody? Are you going to put Jasper Wiese on the bench? In the forwards. So yeah, I'm glad I'm not the person that needs to pick the team. Cobus, yeah, no, I fully agree with you as far as it's very difficult to pick this game for the simple fact that yes, the Boks had two, I would say, terrible games, and yeah, their fitness carried him through. But you also got to take into account that this thing of Bongi and Bonambi is still hanging over their heads. So yeah, throwing that into the mix, how is that affecting the guy psychologically? Because there's still a big question mark hanging over it. Although today I saw on News 24 that the remark that Bongi apparently made was in a game last year between England and South Africa. So, yeah, there's so much speculation and so much going on that, I don't know, who's trying to fool who or who's trying to pull the wool over whose eyes. Yeah, it's going to be a tough one. Either way, I don't think it's going to be a huge points difference. I think it's going to be within 7 points.
I fully agree with you, Eugene. It's going to be a very tough game and I think a low-scoring game. I actually had a conversation today with someone at work that's also a huge Boks supporter. And the one thing that I think that the Blacks has got the upper hand is if a card is given against a team that they're playing against, they normally utilize that and score points in that 10 minutes. And that to me is a problem from the Boks, the Lions, and most of the South African teams' side. They don't utilize that 14, 15 man difference. I remember a year or two before COVID, we were playing the French and they were beating us silly. We were down, I think, 16 points at one stage. And the French got a yellow card and we clapped them with 3 tries in 10 minutes. That might be a game changer. Although I'm not saying that card should be given. I hope there is no card, so we stay 15-15. And this can be a head-on game. And like Neil said, this is a dream final and whoever wins, boys, if you Boks win, I will be the first one to congratulate you. It's going to be a tough one, is it not?
Melkermark. Hoe mis ons nie vir Melkermark? Ek meen as Melkermark daar was, nee. Was die skorelyn nie net 1 punt teen Frankryk nie, en ook nie net 1 punt teen Engeland. Dit sou nie gewees. Ek sê nou vandag vir julle dit sou. Ons mis vir Melkem vrek baie. En dis my probleem. Van 2019 tot nou toe. Die core Bok groep. Uitsondering van Moody en Arendse. Die hele core is nog dieselfde speler. So in 4 jaar van Springbok rugby het ons nie ander name opgebring regtig. Nou, einde van hierdie wêreldbeker, ouens soos Etsebet kan nog eers speel. Maar die Allende, Pollard, daar's baie van hulle wat gaan uittreë. Hulle gaan nie 'n volgende World Cup sien nie. Moes ons nie nou al nuwe outjies ingebring het. Ons het baie utility spelers, baie. Maar gebruik ons hulle reg. As jy 'n agterspeler is, jy speel 4 verskillende posisies. Why? Moet justify yourself om op center sê maar nou te speel en 'n specialist center uit die plek uit te vat. Jy gaan nou daar speel, maar eintlik kan jy ook heel agter speel. Jy's 'n jack of all trades. Ek dink nie in die World Cup het ons regtig ons utility ouers mooi gebruik. Dit was slim daai met Grant Williams op vleuel, maar verder het ons nie regtig. Dion Fourie is myle ver agter 'n Melkermark, myle ver. Van Staden is myle ver agter Malcolm maak. Vat Mars het die question aan jy net vir Bongie. Vat vir Bongie weg, wie tot dan? 'n Utility ou wat nie naby die specialist kom. So 4 jaar het ons nie 'n haker gekry wat actually Bongie en Malcolm se taak kan vat en sê weet jy wat, ek staan in hierso en ek is net so goed as jy. Nee, jy vat 'n utility ou, die kant toe, daai kant toe, die kant toe, daai kant. Dinge stop, ek het met 'n vriend van my by die werk gepraat. Luister gou hierdie ene. Imagine jy het vir Roan Pienaar gehad en Johan Goosen. Daai game teen die Bulle, ons sal later daarby kom, maar het julle daai game gesien? Johan Goosen is kookwater. Roan Pienaar is kookwater. Pieter de Villiers het gesê, weet jy wat, ek het sy rugby loopbaan hom gekos, want ek het hom gevat van 'n 10 en ek wou hom 9 gemaak. Nou imagine ons het nou Saterdag het ons 'n 9 gehad in die naam van Roan Pienaar wat 10 enige tyd kan volstaan en ons het Johan Goosen gehad wat ook 10 en 15 kan volstaan.
It's always a worry when that there hasn't been too much in the way of depth building between World Cups. And look, I want to say that the Boks have done some depth building, and the good news is, looking at some of the positions, okay, going to 2027, we're looking at, this person, this person, this person, so, but I do want to say it's more evident in the back line than it is in the forwards, and that becomes a worry. A question that I've puzzled over numerous times this World Cup is, once we lost Marks, should Dwebber have gotten the call up? Watching him play URC this past Saturday, I would say, yeah, you know what, he's playing very well, and he's a specialist. I get the logic behind, wanting to utilize a Dion Fourie and a Marco van Staden. But then the question is, are we going for short-term gain over long-term gain? I mean, we want to win the World Cup, definitely. So, I suppose utility was more useful than perhaps having specialists. But yeah, the good thing for me is that we have people, for example, the Bok backline could look something like Hendrickse or Williams at 9, Libbok at 10, Damon Willemse either at 12 or 15. You could put Moody at 13, and I think, Jake White is going to have some problems now at the Bulls because is he now going to have to pick Moody at 13 the whole time? But, we're looking for options at 13. Sorry, yeah, at 13, not 15. We're looking at options at 13. Moody's now an option. Wings, I think we're good where we can have Kurtley answer. And here's where, the likes of Edwulf van der Merwe or someone could also step in there. And then the question becomes fullback if you're having Willems play 12. But, that I would say looks a lot better than the forwards where, you could say the top 2 or 3 guys in certain positions are all, mostly not going to the next World Cup.
Okay, Niels, 2 points for me. Yes, the Boks do miss Malcolm Marx a lot. But it's a problem if you guys, and I'm saying you guys, I'm saying Boks supporters, are relying on one guy to win the World Cup or one guy to play. Look at the Blacks, look at the way they play, look at the depth they had. On number 10, we've got Damon McKenzie that can play a havoc game with anyone when he comes on. We got Barrett, we got Richie Mango. Utility players to me is a swear word. It's the same with the Lions, and I'm going back to Quinn Horn. Quinn Horn is a fullback. I speak to Quinn quite personally, quite a lot. He doesn't mind playing wing, but he's a fullback. He likes playing fullback. I personally believe that you are right with the 4 years and no new players, which means now you've got 4 years to build a new team again, whether you win or lose the World Cup. Can you imagine you guys walking in now and in the box of the defending World Cup champs, and they got to play, and they haven't got this sort of experience? And again, two things: no utility players, play people in their positions. Through the years, guys like Derek Hougaard and those players. If a guy wants to play fullback, leave him there. If he's good, leave him there. Yes, you do miss Malcolm Marx, but please, we can't just, South African supporters can't just rely on one guy. And then Bongi doesn't belong here. They should have played Dion Fourie from the start. Teams to be played need to be picked on performance.
I mean, look, personally, I would say Bonky definitely belongs there. And literally, the way I look at it is Dion Fourie is a good flank. But I also want to say there's a reason he hasn't been first choice hooker in the franchises he's played in for a very long time. So it's a massive gamble, and let me not lie, it's a massive thing to his credit that he's able to perform at an international level at hooker. But Bongi, I would say, brings more to the table, also because he's got that much more Bok experience. There's players, put it this way, even with quota systems and whatnot in place, I look particularly at the Springboks, and there's not a single player where I'm like, no, you know what, this person's here because of the system. Everyone plays their role, and the beautiful thing is, you can get from all the players as well that they know they are part of, they're part of the squad for rugby reasons. And this is what I really appreciate and respect about the conversations that Tarasi has had with the players and with the public as well.
The other thing is that the things that might turn this game in your guys' favor. Rassie is one of the most cleverest coach the Boks has ever a long time. He's very, very, very clever. Sly but clever. I actually saw a conversation today when on one of the All Blacks sites that I follow, that they've got a hell of a lot of respect for Rassie. Because he's unpredictable. He will do something that no one expects, and I can actually see that coming in the World Cup final. It's going to be a tough one. Again, I will probably put the Blacks on my Super Brew with 5, nothing more than that. I have to back my own team, but this is going to be a tough one. And going back to 4 years, I think both sides, a lot of the players, Blacks and Boks, their careers are over now. It's going to be their last World Cup. So basically, and also England and Scotland, a lot of their players are also going. So I think in 4 years' time, we're going to see new teams from Boks, Blacks, and the other guys. And it's going to be very, very interesting.
No, Moya, I fully agree. Bongi is the next best hooker we have. The only thing for me that distinguishes Malcolm Marx way above Bongi is he has that extra fetcher role. He's like an extra flank on the field while he plays hooker. He's scrummaging, he's defense. That guy he's a beast. In my opinion, the best hooker in the world. There's no one like him. His work rate, everything. Maar om terug te kom nou om Kobus toe nou. Weet jy wat, ek is een van die mense wat so jaar voor die, of kom ons sê 2 jaar voor die Wêreldbeker 2019, was ek nie 'n groot koalisie fan. Ek was plat nie 'n groot koalisie fan. Maar 'n jaar voor 2019, 2018, het daai man sy game gelig. Nee? Nou hier waar ek nou sit, nie net oor hy 'n Wêreldbeker gewen het nie. Sy work rate, sy alles is, en die beste ding is kapteinskap. Daar is nie 'n beter kaptein in ons Springbokspan as Siya Kolisi nie. Daar is nie. Dis nou die speler wat homself bewys het. Nie teen regering, quotas of iets nie. Hy het homself uit en uit bewys, uit en uit. So ook Trevor Nyakane, ek kan baie van hulle noem. Wat daar hoort van ons cheetah spelers nie, van ons leeu spelers, van ons Griekwa spelers. Nou kom ek terug na die ou ding, hoekom hou ons nie proewe nie? Hoekom word 'n bokspan gekies? Eerste kies die kaptein, which is fine, die korte leie. Maar net daarna, tweede opsie wat die Springbokke doen, ons kies 'n loskakel, en hy moet van die bulle afkom, of van die WPA. En dit stem ek nie mee saam. Jordan Hendricks moes al lankal Springbok gespeel het. Lankal. Maar hy speel vir die Leeu's, so hy gaan nie. Vincent Zatuka, toe by die Leeu's was, kookwater. Hy het nie gespeel nie, want hy kom van die Leeu's af. Hoeveel cheetah spelers is daar nie? Goeie spelers. Maar hulle word nooit raak gesien nie, want hulle speel vir daai nie.
Yeah, agreed. Rassie is really such a bright and such a sly coach and such an innovative coach as well. And I think both him and Jacques have worked together quite well in terms of balancing each other out. Because, you know, I think you also need someone to rein in Rassie's creativity every now and again. And yeah, it's, I think that's part of what's going to make it a monumental final. But I do have to give a word of respect to Ian Foster and actually to the full All Blacks team, not just the players, but the coaches and that, because they were not in a good spot before the World Cup. And to have turned it around when they needed to is quite a monumental thing. And it's something that, you know, one expects the All Blacks to always be on top. But in this rare instance where they haven't been, what has the response been? And looking at how everyone has banded together to make the turnaround and to make it to the final in quite convincing fashion, that's quite commendable. I think I can dovetail a bit from what you've mentioned there, Niels, about Lions and Cheetahs players. And then, you know, it would be great if they could get that opportunity to get into the box squad, because really Francois Steyn was the only Cheetahs player. And the good and bad thing with Francois Steyn is even when he wasn't playing much rugby, it was like, yeah, but, you know, we're going to have Francois Steyn in. Now, my hope is that with the Cheetahs getting another opportunity to play Challenge Cup rugby, that players there can put their hands up. You know, just like the Lions have players who, you know, who I feel are knocking on the back door as well. It would be great building towards 2027. Let's get some of these guys in, you know. And what makes me happy in some ways is that because we've got Rassie, contracted till 2025. The hope is that he can operate as director of rugby. Whoever the new head coach will be will also step up, and together they can say, look, what's the vision to 2027 and how do we get there? And then they just push from there.
Yeah, other thing that I must say, and I've said this for a long time in the past, the Boks can play Portugal tonight and lose, the Blacks can play Malawi tonight and lose. But the minute those two teams step up against each other, it's like they play rugby that's out of this world. It's always every single person of that 30, 35 or 40 people on and off the field will give their best for their countries. Like I said, they can lose to all the second-hand teams, but when they play each other, it's always epic, and that's what's going to happen on Saturday night. I actually made a joke and said, maybe I'm just going to go sleep and just watch Sunday morning or one. I don't know if my nerves are going to make it. My voice will definitely not make it because I scream my lungs out. And thank you for saying respect to the Blacks, but the same to the Boks. When they lost to Ireland, there was even Boks supporters that says, yeah, are we going to make it, and this and that. And they proved the world wrong. They proved that they can do it. So let's see and wait and whatever on Saturday.
That's one thing I really appreciate about this being the final, is that it's two teams who really tend to bring the best out of each other, and having them play against each other is a very fitting final. You know, it's not something where you feel like, you know what, it's not a good style combination, or they're this literally come rain or shine. These two teams always bring out the best in each other, and I think that's going to make it quite a wonderful final. It's going to be a very stressful one as well, which is which is not great. I feel like I'm 30 years older than I actually am at this point. You know, after the last few weeks of rugby, but yeah, you know, one more Saturday. That's what we have to go through. It's just that one more Saturday, and then the World Cup is done. We can breathe, and yeah, from there it's all URC as well, which has its own stresses. But I think in terms of levels, you know, World Cup stress is a once in 4 year sort of stress.
Niels, this is my last bit about the World Cup. 100% agree with you. Number one in the world of the box at the moment, number two is the Blacks. Whoever wins can now really say we have beaten the best. We deserve to be world champs. I'm not taking away you guys' 4 years reign as world champs, not at all. It works for me as well. I've got a lot of respect for the box. I support them when they don't play the Blacks. I have actually this World Cup worn my Springbok jersey a few times when they were not playing the Blacks. I've got a lot of respect for them. Not all their supporters though, but of the box. But this is the ultimate. This is whoever walks off as the world champ on Saturday can say we have beaten the best in the world. That's it. This is going to be epic, guys.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm with you. That is the difference between good and great. And I agree with Eugene as well, in that it might be Russie being Russie and Shark being Shark. They might have a plan to play some of the guys who haven't had as much game time. One, because it gives you something different, but also it gives you the energy levels, you know, and that's something that I've been thinking about. You know, can some of the older players in particular, can they pull it out of the bag another week in a row? Or do you try to mix in some of the younger guys, you know, who will push the tempo? I don't know. I'm hoping that the people in charge do know, and that you know they'll let us know the plan. Well, at least they'll let us know the selection soon. But yeah, it is quite tricky business because there's arguments for both sides. You know, do you pick your more experienced guys because they've been there, they've done that? Do you pick some of the younger guys who, you know, will be fresher and probably hungrier as well? Yeah, very, very, very interesting times ahead.
Well, yeah, that's why I've been calling for this. Me and Wim Kobus, we've been calling for this final. Because that's the only final you're going to have with the best two teams in the world facing each other. That is what everybody wants in rugby. If you want to see good rugby, you see the All Blacks play the Springboks. On neutral ground, home ground, doesn't matter. Because both will be giving everything, 101%. And the mutual respect between the players and the coaches, and even us as fans. I'm a Bok fan, but I have hell of a lot of respect for the All Blacks. I mean, I get goosebumps if I see the haka. Then you know this is on. This is war. And there's no other team facing the All Blacks or no other team facing the Springboks that you will see the same intensive stare downs, physicality, pace. Guys will push themselves. When their bodies are done, they will still keep on going. Play for 90 minutes, not 80, 90 minutes. They will leave everything on that field. And that's what we as rugby fans deserve, a good final. Not to say that the Northern Hemisphere teams, if they made it to the final, it wouldn't be that great. It would have been good, but it wouldn't have been great.
Yeah, I think for the Lions, the mistakes were expensive, which is unfortunate. And I will say, you know, it was great to see the bench making a very positive impact. Coach even said afterwards, look, part of why those guys hadn't started or hadn't started was that, especially for Henk van Beek, he is coming back from quite a serious injury, so the plan is to manage him back in. Now he might start, but there was a doubt that he would make the full 80. And my thing is, you know what? If we can use him strategically like we did, where, he comes in and makes such a positive impact, great. But then it's also up to the starters to make sure that the platform is there. I will say Zebra, Zebra, one of those teams. Even last season, you got that feeling where they were so close to something special. Mind you, that something special would be one win, but they got close how many times? How many times? And, the hope is that once they turn the corner, teams better watch out. And, this is where I'm looking, somewhat nervously because I need us to make sure we aren't that team. And for Glasgow, I will say, wow, yeah, Franco Smith has really done some good work there. For them to take on Leinster and do the business like they did, fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And to think they still have some players they haven't used yet. So it'll be quite interesting to see. I think Glasgow will definitely be one of the contenders this season.
Niels, ja, jy weet, laas naweek se game, Lions teen Stormers. Daar weer eens het ons catch-up rugby gespeel, my maat. En ek het op 'n stadium gedink ons gaan 'n pak slag kry, ons skrik vir niks. En ja, die tweede helfte, toe die bench opkom, to change the game. En ja, as daai 3 van Horn toegeken was, het ons game gewen. Jy is doodreg. Die toerspan wat hulle gekies het, dink ek is 'n baie gebalanseerde span. Ja, daar is miskien vir 'n paar mense verrassings, maar 'n paar van die manne is nog beseer, 'n paar van die manne is 'n bietjie uit vorm uit. Maar volgens my kan ons ten minste 3 uit die 4 uitwen en die nie al 4 nie. Nou op toer. En dit kan die ouens groot motivering gee om terug te kom en hulle home games te wen. Want hulle het mos nou die weekend internasionale rugby dan gespeel. Oorsee gespeel teen oorsee se spanne en dit kan net vir hulle groot confidence boost wees. Deur ten minste 3 van die 4 games weg te wen. Om die weggames te wen is net so belangrik as om jou home games te wen. Home games is natuurlik 'n absolute moet. Maar nou ja, jy weet, ons weet nie wat deur Van Rooyen se kop gaan nie. En Niels, ek stem saam met jou, jy weet hierdie ding van, jy weet, roteer. Dit irriteer die wit waks uit my uit. Jy kan nie verwag van ons wat op die bank sit om die kastanjes uit die vuur uit te krap wat jou oorspronklike spankeuse aangejaag het nie. Dis onregverdig teen daai manne. En op die einde van die dag gaan daai manne dink, wat vir ons goed is om die ander se brouwerk reg te maak. En dit kan jy ons bietjie demotiveer. Ja, dis maar my 2 sent werd oor die toerspan en laas naweek se game.
Ja, Niels, my Super Brul also took a knock. There was a few surprises, especially with the Lions one. Again, and I'm going to say this for the rest of the season, as long as if I have to, rotation is shit, shouldn't happen. Play your best side. I understand what Moya says about Henk van Wyk, and I fully agree with him. But the rest of the times, play your starting 15 team, keep them together, let them know each other, let them play together, let them gel together. Bring on the boxer bomb squad later in the game when you're ahead or when you really need fresh feet, fresh legs. to me, it's still the Ivan thing. He's not picking the right guys. But hopefully he's learned from this game. Fender should at least start and Henko should come on maybe just after halftime. But please, Mr. Van Cash, Van Rooyen, stop the shit with the rotation.
Kobus, yeah, no, I fully agree with you. Rotation does absolutely nothing for the confidence of the players. Absolutely nothing. For the simple reason that you have a brilliant game today. Next week, you don't play. Or you sit on the bench. What message does that give to the player? There's no motivation, there's no incentive for the guy to give his best. Because he thought, okay, now I had a brilliant game, I scored maybe 2 tries or whatever the case may be, and the next game I sit on the bench. What is that doing to that player's confidence? It's shooting that player's confidence to pieces, and that's not right. So, Jacobus, as you say, let's hope Cash learn something from this game against the Stormers, and that he picks his best available side to start with. And he sticks to that side so the guys can get to know each other. They can play well together. They can gel together. And yes, by all means, have your bomb squad. Fresh legs, etc., etc., etc. And play the full 80 minutes. Do not try and play catch-up rugby, because if you're going to start playing catch-up rugby, you're going to see your backside.
Okay, right guys, let's get into URC. Manne, kom ons pak bietjie die URC aan. Yes, laas naweek was interessant om die minste te sê. Ek was met 'n paar verkeerd, daar klap die Stormers toe vir ons. Daar sou ek gesê het, as Henko begin het en Roan Venter begin het ons daai game gehad. Maar die oomblik toe hulle opkom, toe change alles. Toe begin ons inhaal. As ons het 3 gestaan het ons die game gewen. Maar weer eens, dit was spankeuse. En ek hoop nie Ivan gaan dieselfde doen en weer net roteer en ouens wat moet begin bench en ouens wat moet eintlik bench begin. Ek hoop nie dit gaan gebeur nie. Dis ons eerste game. Ons het 2 punte, lokpunte uit die game uitgevat. Dis nie 'n groot train smash nie, dis beginning of the season. Ciao. Maar game my impress is Oester en Zebre. Nee? Hier Zebre, as daai game bietjie langer was, het hulle hom dalk gevat. Leinster teen Glasgow, what the hell? Wat het Glasgow gedrink? Wat bied in hulle pap gepiepie? Can you imagine? Vooraf het ek gedink, nee, wat Leinster gaan ons nou mors met hulle, man. En kyk hy scoreline.
Eugene, om terug te kom na jou confidence van die spelers, dit werk al 2 kante toe. Jy moet ook onthou, nou het jy 'n kak game gehad, verskom my taal, uit 'n swak game, maar jy weet, jy gaan 'n week rus en kry jy weer 'n kans. So, dis hoekom ek bly sê, rotasie werk nie. Niels, ja, ek dink ons moes die Stormers game gewen het. Ek lees redelik baie daarin, dit is 'n home game wat ons moes wen, ons moes daai punte gekry het. Ons toer die laaste paar jaar baie goed. Nou is my volgende vraag, dink julle dalk, en as ek verkeerd is, please guys help me out, do you maybe think that some of the younger guys in the Lions team has got this thing, is be playing the box, the teams with the box in the world champs or whatever, and they're a bit, I won't say scared, but intimidated. Don't you think we should just go out there and say, well, you're a Springbok, but I'll play better than you? And maybe you adopt that sort of attitude, and maybe we'll play better against the home team, SA teams. I might be wrong, but I've just got that idea. Eugene, Niels, ons het hier gestuurd. 'n naam maak nie altyd saak nie. Baie keer ek gaan gou die fight wen, want ek hierdie ou al gewen. En dan kry jy pak sla. So ja, miskien moet ons net 'n kopskuif maak met die SA spanne en besluit, al het hulle teamspromook in die span, kom ons gaan beat hulle met die bokke en dan glo ek, gaan ons gat skop.
Kyk nee, soos ek sê, ek leef nie te veel in die Stormers game in nie. Ja, dit was 'n home game, dit was 'n moes wen. Maar ons het eerlikwaar, ons het sleg begin. Ons het sleg begin. Ja, eerste 3, daar gaat hulle. Net daarna, ons staan punte af. Ons staan weer punte af. Nou is ons in die 3-rad. Soos om Kobus altyd sê, jy kan nie catch-up rugby altyd bly speel. Jy kan nie. Fiksheid was vir my 'n hoogtepunt. Ons lyk bietjie meer fiks. Scrums het my regtig bietjie geworry. Dit het my geworry. Ons nie gedomineer soos altyd nie. Aan die begin, na eerste 30 minute was maar scramble defense, maar toe kom ons half bietjie reg. Ek is nie geworried regtig gespeel nie. Laat ons 2 punte lock points gekry het, ek's happy met dit. Nou gaan toer ons. Ons het laas jaar begin met 'n suksesvolle toer, teruggekom in die Suid-Afrikaanse spanne het ons ore aangesit. Nou weet ons dat ons kan die Suid-Afrikaanse spanne 'n go gee. So obviously gaan hy 'n toer wen 2 uit 4 uit of wat ook al. Kom terug. Fokus op die Suid-Afrikaanse spanne. Ons moet begin daar domineer. Daar moet ons domineer. Maar mense, ek sê vir julle, ek weet nie of julle die Bulle game gekyk het nie. Daai man is bid warm. Hulle is nie soos in die, as ek die scoreline gesien het met daai pre-games wat ons teen hulle gespeel het, kan ek nie dink dieselfde boelspan wat teen Skalers gespeel het nie. Hulle Skalers oor donder. En hulle het nie gedoen op die lugdruk nie. Hulle het al geknak in die eerste 40 minute. Die laaste 40, toe het lugdruk wat bietjie gehelp het. Maar hulle het al hulle moed gebreek in die eerste helft. Die Stormers kan trots wees op hulle. Hulle het 'n blerrie goeie span. Kom ons wees eerlik. Hulle het 'n goeie span. Sonder hulle springbokke. Hulle het ons 'n go gegee, 'n regtig 'n oordentlike go. Die Sharks, ek dink van al die Suid-Afrikaanse spanne het die Sharks die grootste worry op die oomblik. Want hulle mis hulle springbokke.
Ja, wel net my paar insette ten opsigte van laasweek se game, of se games. Soos ek vroeër gesê het, hierdie ding van catch-up rugby speel, nee, het werk nie. Want dit demotiveer die ouens wat op die bank sit. Want die ouens wat op die bank sit is veronderstel eintlik om op die veld te wees as die eerste keuse. En nou word van daai manne verwag dan om die kastanjes uit die vuur uit te krap. Dit werk nie vir my nie, want die ouens op die bank gaan nie dink, ek is net goed genoeg om die ander ouens 'n brouwerk te kom regmaak. Die game, die Bulle, ek het so stukkie gekyk en ja, alles warm hierdie jaar. Dit definitief nie dieselfde kwaliteitsspel wat hulle gelewer het in die pre-games nie. Ek dink daar's verskeie redes daarvoor. Eksperimenteer met spelers, kombinasies, bang vir beserings, en so aan. So, ek dink dit is van die dinge wat die game vir my sê, in elk geval. Die Sharks, ja, nee, definitief, hulle sit met 'n probleem. Ek dink hulle het 'n groot wake-up call gehad, nou die naweek. En hulle kan nie beter, hulle kan nie slegter nie. Hulle mis hulle bokke, dit is reg. Maar ek meen, die bokke gaan hulle definitief nie join op oorseese toer nie. Hulle gaan ten minste 3-4 weke wees voordat daai ons beskikbaar gaan wees. So, hulle sal hulle sokkies moet begin optrek. En soos ek sê, dit lyk asof die Sharks rugby agteruit gaan. Ek weet nie, ek dink nie Neil Powell is die regte persoon as direkteur van rugby vir die Sharks nie. Ja, hy het groot suksesse gehad met die 7's, maar daar's 'n groot verskil tussen 7's en 15 man game. En ek dink net hulle kies die verkeerde spelers en weer eens ook 'n geval van waar die spelers op die veld is nie die beste spelers is nie. En dat die spelers op die bank daar word van hulle verwag om die game te kom red. Dit werk nie so nie.
Niels het nog 'n klip in die bos gooi. Ek het niks teen Marius Lou as kaptein nie. Maar ek dink geen nog 'n seisoen dan moet hy Venter ons kaptein word. Daai mannetjie is 'n leier, hy's 'n gebore leier. En 'n lei van vooraf. Hy speel konstant goeie rugby. Marius het maar sy afdaal. Niks teen Marius nie. Maar ek sê met jou saam, as daai kultuur kan terugkom, gaan ons vir die manne looi. Glo vir my, ons vir die manne looi. Ons het die spelers, ons het jong spelers wat deurkom, ons is redelik diepte op die oomblik. Ek dink ook as die manne soos JP en daai ons terug is, en volop sterkte is, dan gaan ons kook. Maar ek hoop ten minste vir 'n 3-4 wen, die op die toer. Gou 'n vraagie van julle af. What do you guys think about this weekend's coming game for the Lions? Do you think we can pull it through?
Toe Ackerman en Swys daar was. Johan Ackerman en Swys te bring. 2015. Nee. Was daai kultuur in ons gewees om te sê, weet jy wat, ons speel teen 'n Springboks van maakie saakie, ons gaan jou vermorsel. Ons hou nog steeds die rekord, ek dink dit was 17 games, nee, 17 of 19 games unbeaten. Teen Suid-Afrikaanse span. Nog nie die Bulls, nog nie die Stormers, nie Cheetahs, niemand kon dit doen. 17, ek dink dit is 17 of 19. Games in 'n ry. Hoekom het ons dit gedoen? Want die coach en die spelers maak glo, hulle kan. En hulle het. En as ons regtig, kyk hoe het ons daai game gespeel teen die British en Irish Lions. Mense, British en Irish Lions. Dit was iets soos Jordan se tweede, derde wedstryd vir ons. Daai man was soos 'n generaal. Ons het flippend goed gespeel. Ons het geman up teen die British en Irish Lions. As ons daai kultuur kan terugkry, so om Kobus sê, want weet jy wat, of jy nou Springbok het of nie, kom ek wys jou, ek hoort in jou plek. As ons daai mindset, ons het die spelers, dis net, waar ons mindset. Sodra ons mindset op die regte plek gaan wees, gaan nie eens van ons klop in hierdie Suid-Afrikaanse URC nie, glad nie. Ons ek nie bang vir die Stormers, ek is bang vir die Sharks, ek is bang vir die Bulls nie. Bring jou beste. Volgens my, ons het die selfe span wat ons 2014, 2015 gehad het. Ons het die selfe oukies. Ons het nou 'n jong Faf de Klerk wat daai tyd net, 'n jong Malcolm Mars. Ons het 'n PJ Botha. Ons het 'n Besaging. Ons het 'n Nwamba wat nou beter rugby speel as wat hy ooit gespeel het by die Sharks. Ons het daai tipe spelers. Dit net die geloof in hulle. Moet die coaching staff ook kom, sodat hulle in hulle self kan glo.
Kobus, ja, jy is reg met die confidence wat beide kante te werk. Jy is 100% reg. En ek sê 100% saam met jou, dis hoekom rotasie nie werk nie. Dit is juist omdat jy het 'n kakgame gehad, verskoon my taal, en jy weet, jy gaan weer 'n kans kry. Nee, jy kies jou beste span ten alle tye. Dis so eenvoudig soos dit, jou beste beskikbare span. Dis hoe dit werk. Om terug te keer, ja, nee, Niels, jy praat van stoei, jy is doodreg. Ek meen al, die Suid-Afrikaanse kampioen in my gewigsklas daai tyd was Eugene Oesch. En ek het 'n paar keer teen hom gestoei, paar keer verloor, maar ek het hom 'n paar keer gewen ook. Dis dieselfde in atletiek. Ek meen, my grootste kompetisie, daar's twee ouens wat massiewe afstande gooi, met diskus en gewigstoot. Burton Haupt En wat is die ander is van? Ag my genade, ek kan nie op sy naam kom nie. Maar in elk geval, nou Burton Haupt gooi 'n diskus 54 meter sonder enige moeite. Daai ou is 'n absolute beast, om die minste daarvan te sê. Suid-Afrikaanse kragman. So ja, ek meen hy is basies onaantastbaar. Daai man het net 'n aksie en 'n wat skrik vir niks. En dan het hy die krag wat daarmee saamgaan. Maar ek meen ek het in die 2015 SA kampioenskappe in Port Elizabeth. Toe het ek nog ver gespring. Die ou wat vierde gekom het, was die vorige jaar die Suid-Afrikaanse kampioen in ons ouderdomsgroep. Jy kan 'n afdag hê my mat. Daar's geen almal van ons het afdag. Jy kan nie 100% van die keer 100% van jouself gee nie, dis onmoontlik. Jy kan net die beste doen wat jy kan. Dis so eenvoudig soos dit. En ja, ek dink ons, soos ek gesê het, ons is in vir 'n baie interessante seisoen. En die ouens moet net daar uitgaan met 'n mindset. Ek kan dit doen. Jy praat nou van Springbokke. As jy Springbokke nou terugkom. So what? Soos jy sê, weet, wys net jy kan beter speel as hy. Want op die einde van die dag, baie van daai Springbokke gaan nie die volgende wêreldbeker sien nie. So wat doen jy? Jy wys net jy speel beter as daai ou. En jy gaan raak gesien word. En wie weet, in die volgende World Cup speel jy dalk. Dit moet die ouens se motivering wees. Nie dink, o hel, jy weet, ek speel teen 'n Springbok wat 50 plus games al gespeel het vir die Springbokke, weet, en bang wees vir hulle nie. Nee, hulle is ook net 'n mens soos ek en jy. Ja, jy weet, wys net jy is beter. Gee jou beste ten alle tye, dis al. Kobus, this weekend's game, Lions, is going to be a tough one. I think, well, let's put it this way. My mind says yes, we can. It's not going to be an easy game, but we have the players, we have the depth. Cash just got to pick the right side and the right players in the right positions, and then there is nothing that can stop us. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm thinking something that is encouraging is that we pushed the Stormers quite close. It's unfortunate that we didn't win, because really I think that would have been such a positive sign for more than one reason. The first reason obviously would be because we get a win. The second reason would be it further would break this curse, if you will, that we've had where we haven't been able to beat SA teams. We beat the Bulls last season, and there, that shows we can beat SA teams again. But to beat the SA team that's held as the standard, that would be fantastic. So, yeah, the hope is that next time we can do the business. But, I think there's a lot to be said as well about getting the belief going in the team. And I think last season did help with that, but now it's the consistency. And, that's something that's plagued us a bit as well, is can we go the full 80? And once we do that, then it's good things loading.
Oom Kobus moes gou gegaan het, hy het 'n familiekrisis. So guys, we can continue for a little while and then maybe take tomorrow as a small part 2 or something. I don't know what you guys think. We can continue like this, but Oom Kobus, he has a family crisis that he has to attend to. So he apologized and said, I can use whatever he has, what he said. But I feel like we need to talk about the picture still. So are you, Moya or Eugene, are you willing to still stick for a couple of minutes still so that we can discuss tomorrow's or this weekend's pictures? And then maybe on Kobus, I'll send him the question or whatever we spoke about, and then he can just get his bit in tomorrow. Let me know how you feel about it.
Geen probleem Niels, geen probleem. Ek is beskikbaar, geen probleem. Ons kan aangaan. Of môre. Ek het nie pyn met enigiemand van die twee nie.
Yeah, I think we can do a couple more. And that should be okay.
I just checked the weather for Edinburgh on Saturday. And they're predicting rain for Edinburgh on Saturday. So it just depends on how quickly the Lions can adapt to those type of conditions. With the Scots being relatively okay with, well, they used to playing in the wet and the rain and so on. But it's going to be a tough nut to crack. It's going to be a tough nut to crack. As I say, you know, we just must not let the scoreline run away from us, because then we're gonna slip on our butts in that wet weather.
I feel like this could be Zebra's week. You know, they're playing Ospreys. Ospreys have lost a lot of experience, and they weren't really convincing last week. So, yeah, problem is Zebra will be away, but I think this could be the one that they do. Leinster versus the Sharks. I think Leinster will probably have, just a bit too much firepower for the Sharks at this point. But if the Sharks catch a wake-up, well, then it's anyone's game. Us versus Edinburgh, we've taken Edinburgh at home before. We just need to do it again. Bulls versus, I want to say Ulster. Tough one to start your tour with. But I think that will be good for them, because if they can get past Ulster, that's how you start a tour. So yeah, I think that'll be good. Trying to remember the other fixtures, but yeah, let me have a think, and I'll touch back on those quickly now as well. And I think Glasgow Connacht as well will be a very, very difficult one, but Glasgow should just edge it.
Well, if I just look at the four South African sides, it's going to be all tough games, because they're all four games is away. All four teams are playing away. Stormers, Scarlets, tough one to call. Stormers with momentum from last week's game. They should just take it. Bulls against Ulster. Yeah, that's to me, that's a 50-50 game. Then, okay, as I said, the Lions against Edinburgh, that's going to be a tough one. Sharks against Leinster. The Sharks pick up the game. They should just edge that. I don't know. Tough one to call as well. As I said, you know, with rain being predicted in the UK, wet underfoot is not going to be high-scoring games as far as I can see. I don't think there's going to be more than 9 points in those games. But as far as the Lions are concerned, they can take Edinburgh, no problem.
Ek gaan my kop weer op 'n blok sit en ek gaan weer voorspellings maak soos laasweek en van hulle gaan ek reg hê en van hulle gaan ek verkeerd hê, maar soos ek altyd sê, put your money where your mouth is, né? Ospreys teen Zebre. Ospreys teen Konak het ek gekol laasweek. Konak het hom gevat. Zebre het my verbaas teen Ulster. Dis dalk die een wat Zebre kan wen hierdie. Dis 'n surprise game daar. Ek sal met my kop sal ek gaan vir Ospreys, maar met my hart sal ek gaan vir Zebre. Konak teen Glasgow. Glasgow het 'n moeë game gehad teen Leinster. So sal nie surprise dat Glasgow daai vat nie. Stormers teen Scarlets. Die Bulls is Scarlets bemorsel. Maar dis nou 'n week later. Hulle het 'n bietjie adjust aan altitude en al daai goeters. En as die Stormers teen ons gespeel het en ek gesien hoe die Scarlets teen die Bulls gespeel het, ek gee hom nog steeds vir die Stormers, al is hulle bokke nie daar nie. Leinster teen Sharks. Wel, Glasgow het Leinster daar gaan beat. Never know if die Sharks dalk sal prys daar, maar ek dink Leinster sal wakker geskrik het na die Glasgow scare en hulle sal die Sharks nie baie ver wen nie. Edinburgh teen die Lions. Nou, Wimmy June het gesê dis 'n nut game en ek worry oor nut games met ons. Daar's daai shocking game nog steeds wat krappies wat ons daar in Durban gaan speel het met daai nut game teen die Sharks. Wat ons net terrible. Niks het gewerk nie. Niks het net mooi vir ons gewerk nie. Dan die Sondag games. Het ons dan Benetton teen Munster. Ek kan nie sien dat Benetton, hulle het Cardiff wel gewen, maar Munster, ek dink hulle gaan vasval daar. Dragons teen Cardiff. Dis beplank, gaan maar met Cardiff. En dan Ulster teen die Bulls, soos Moya gesê het. As die Bulls op toer suksesvol bewees en hulle selfs soos hulle teen die Scarlets gespeel het, kan hulle Ulster opset. Hulle kan Ulster gaan boelie daar. Want Ulster lyk regtig nie so hot nie. Ek meen Zebre. En jy wen net daai game. Ek gaan daai nou vir die Bulls. Mense, ek dink ons kol het 'n rap vir hierdie ene. Ons het genoeg lank aangegaan. Want as mens eers lekker begin praat dan begin jy praat, nee, ons kyk hier die tyd nie. Vir elke een wat die vat ons tyd. Kyk, ons almal het families, almal Moya het 'n paar boeke wat hy moet slaan. Maar hy gee sy tyd op vir hierdie. Vir dit sê ek dankie, thank you Moya for giving your time. Altyd lekker om rugby te gesels. Maar ons gaan dit 'n weeklikse ding doen. Nee, ons hou dit op Woensdag. Weekliks, ons release hom op 'n Vrydag. Groete vir elkeen van julle en lekker slaap.
Cool. Thanks so much, Niels, and thanks everyone. Good chat today. And yeah, we keep it going.
Yeah, I just had a quick check on the weather again for Edinburgh on Saturday. 80% chance of rain. Maximum temperature 13 degrees. So yeah, I think we're in for a tough game, but I think we can take it. Just my last words. Good night. Thank you for being part of this group and sharing thoughts and our input regarding the URC as well as World Cup. And let's just all thumbs and hope and pray that Saturday's game, Box against the All Blacks, will be one of the ones that will go down in history as one of the best games ever. Have a pleasant evening.